Hi guys, Martin here, coming to you with my inbox review for my next build, and that's going to be the Revell Supermarine Spitfire Mark IIa 1/32 scale, kit number 05986. And if you've seen my recent video, you'll know that this is my first entry into the Battle of Britain group build 75th anniversary. That's being hosted by two modelers on the forum. That is UK Scale Modeler Ian and Charles Scale Modelling. So thanks for hosting this great group build, guys, and I'm looking forward to getting on with this Spitfire, as I don't have a good Spitfire in my collection. So anyway, this kit, just as the Gustav, the BF 109 G10 I just built, this is brand new tooling last year in 2014. Another Germany kit, Revell Germany. The artwork depicts a couple of Spitfires, Mark IIs, flying over the channel with Heinkel HE-111s, bombers being escorted by Messerschmitt BF 109 E4s. So nice depiction from the Battle of Britain. Here's some of the detail that can be seen on this model. It's propeller exhaust inside the cockpit, undercarriage, and then the horizontal stabilizers, elevators, rudder. And one thing I'm going to look straight out for when we start looking at the parts is whether this has an engine, because I haven't checked that yet. Because the Gustav, the BF 109G, didn't have an engine, and it would have been nice if it had the Daimler DB605 engine in that. Anyway, let's see what we got in the box. This is a skill level 4. The Gustav was a skill level 5, which I disagree with. I think that should be a skill level 3. It was easier. It's just like a larger version of a 1/48 scale kit. Okay, so here we go. Instructions, black and white as usual. In history and Germany first and English second about the Mark IIa. We have 69 sections of the build assembly instructions, and then we have 2 options of markings, same colours, just different markings, squadron markings, and the colours are the dark earth green and brown on the sky lower. Now, should be decals in here, yeah, there we go. Now I'm doing this so you know, if you're part of the Love of Freddy group build that I'm hosting, that this is the prize. So I'm going to be building one so you can see how it goes together before you receive your prize, whoever wins it. Decals, again, these are printed in Italy, so cardograph decals. They look very nice. The only carrier film we have is in between the letters on the fuselage stencils, and then everything else is there's zero carrier film around the edges. It's just print right to the edges, and they're a sort of matte, slight satin matte finish. These decals are slightly thicker because there's 3 colours there, so with the 3 prints it's making it slightly thicker than the others. These red dots obviously go in the centre here. And we have the instrument panel decals there if you want to use those. So the decals look good. So that's the decals looked at, and if they're as good, and I expect they will be, as the model I just done, the 109 G10, they're going to be great decals because they were great. So quick look at the instructions and then we'll look at the plastic. Usual, before you start, read these instructions, and then the symbols that are used within the instructions and the meanings of those symbols. And then on the fourth page we always get the colour call outs. These go from A to O. Then we have the instrument, trees, sprues, sorry, not instrument sprues, the sprues, sprue trees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 of those 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, sorry, there's two of each of those. So there's 16 sprues according to this. Alright, as usual, start with the cockpit, instrument panel, choice of decals, 2 decals to go on there if you want to use those. Fit in the gun sight. I never do that till last. And then fit in the instrument panel to the bulkhead. Foot pedals in number 4 and 5, and then number 6 is the steering column. Number 7 is the bulkhead behind the pilot seat, pilot headrest in number 8. Number 9 is fitting the seat together, comes in sections, and then assembling the framework that goes around the seat, putting the seat into the framework, and then assembling that seat assembly onto the rear bulkhead with the headrest on it, and then assembling that to the cockpit floor with the instrument panel in section 15, and then putting the wall sections around that. Again, like the Gustav, it has separate wall pieces that are detailed, and it makes a tub, cockpit tub, that then goes into the fuselage halves. And then there we've got the throttle levers, battery, etc., radio that goes in there onto the side panels. Here's a radio here, oxygen cylinders, and then going on to the rear wheel assembler. And then when that's done and the cockpit tub is sealed up, we put those in with the propeller spindle, the rear wheel assembler, close up the fuselage, and then it's onto the wings. And here they're showing that the lower wings are a full piece, couple of circular wall sections to represent the wheel wells go onto the lower section, and then the 2 upper sections are mounted to the lower section, and then that whole wing assembly is then mounted to the fuselage assembly in section 25. Section 26, we're starting on the horizontal stabilizers, fitting those together, and then the elevators for the horizontal stabilizers, putting the elevators onto the horizontal stabs, and then assembling the rudder 2 halves together in section 32. All straightforward stuff. And then putting that rudder assembly onto the vertical stabilizer, which is part of the fuselage halves, and then assembling the 2 horizontal stabilizers and elevators. And then it goes on to the main wing, elevators, ailerons, and then a couple of wing tips there. 35 is sectioning the 2 halves of the wing tips and then assembling them onto the ends of the wing assemblies. Section 40 is going on to the underside, and I'm not sure what that is. It's a circular part that goes on the underside, so a viewing window, and then fit in the front underside area of the fuselage. 41 is then going on to the exhaust assemblies, 2 halves to make the exhaust stacks, 2 sets of those assemblies, 1 each side of the fuselage, fitting those in, but I'll do that last. I'll paint those and then I won't have to mask them. I'll airbrush the matte camo colours, they'll be painted, then I'll fit them in right at the end. And then there's a little air intake there, and then yeah, and an air intake on the port side as well as the starboard side. Then it goes on to putting the flaps on the underside of the main wings, flaps down or flaps up, 2 options there, whatever you want to do. and then it's going on to an air intake, oil cooler intake, and then radiator intake, and then building up the radiator cover and dropping the radiator cover over the radiator air intake. And then it's the wheel assemblies, section 55, and the axle assemblies and the doors, the wheel undercarriage doors, building those assemblies up and fitting those on. They won't be fitted until it's all painted and clear coated. They're always my last parts of assembly, all the small bits, the pedo tube, wheels, and anything else that sticks up proud that can easily be broken off, like the aerial. And that's what it is, small parts being assembled, plus the cockpit door. You can have it down or closed. I'll have it in the down position, open position. And then we have a sliding canopy and the front windshield, and there's a bulletproof shield that's separate that fits over the main windshield, and then the rear view mirror, and then we go on to the aerial assembly, and then the propeller assembly is the last one of the last things they're showing. Build up the propeller assembly, then snap it on. It's not glued, it says snap, so it's a snap fit. And then just add in some thread for the antenna cables, and that's it. All easy peasy, all straightforward. And your last two sheets are your colour scheme, as we saw earlier, with two choices of decals, one for number 19 Squadron, Royal Air Force of Falmere, England, June 1941, and the second one is number 65 Squadron, Royal Air Force, Curtin in Lindsey, England, July 1941. So that's the decals and the instructions looked at. Take a little intermission and then we'll come back and we'll look at the plastic and see the quality of that. Stick around guys, I'll be back soon. So welcome back guys, let's have a look at how many bags we got and the sprues. So we have 1, 2, 3 bags of grey sprues, light grey, and then we have 1 bag of clear sprues, and the bags are sealed with sellotape, which is good. We don't have staples that could scratch the parts. So let's start with the biggest parts, and that's this bag here. So open this up. Oh, there's 3 pieces of sellotape sealing that bag. And in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sprues. And as you can see, it's the lower wing sections and then the 2 upper wing sections to make the wing assembly, and then the 2 fuselage halves. Let's look at the fuselage halves. Starboard side. Now, first thing I notice is lots of beautiful recessed panel lines and lots of rivet detail, and all that rivet detail is nicely recessed with the panel lines, so that's going to really pop when you put a wash on there. That's really nice. That's the first model this is going to be the first model I've built that has that amount of rivet details included, so that's a nice touch. And as we can see, it's a solid fuselage, no compartments, so no engine in this kit. Would be nice if it had come with an engine, but I guess that's why we're only paying $23.95 for this kit, 32nd scale kit. But I'd pay another $5 if it came with a Merlin engine and removable covers. So anyway, as we know, we have covers that go inside here for the cockpit tub, so these couple of ejector pins below this line here are going to be covered, so I'm not worried about those. Parts look really nice, crisp, not seeing flash, not seeing any warp, so very nice looking moulding indeed. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll do some still images So you can see these close up. Onto the port side, and again we've got lots of nice rivet detail and recessed panel lines, and I'm not seeing flash in any of the holes, any of the shut off areas. It's all crisp and clean. So another great looking part. There's a bit of sink on there, but that's covered with a bottom panel, so that doesn't concern me. Yeah, that looks really good. Another clean, crisp part. Go to the bottom wing assembly, which is a large part. Again, this is really crisp. So Revell Germany, the last two Germany kits I've done, the Arado and the Gustav I just finished. I've been really impressed with the moulding. It's really good injection moulding. And as you know, this is a brand new tool last year. There's a bit of flash around this area there, just here, just a little bit that I'll have to clean up, but nothing in the wheel well holes, cutouts, and nothing in the machine gun spent cartridge outlets. But yeah, again, lots of rivet details on this and lots of nice recessed panel lines. So I'm going to enjoy painting this one. I can see it already. I'm going to love getting stuck into the painting and weathering on this one. And here's the port side upper wing off. Again, just a crisp, gorgeous looking moulding. So I have no problems with the way that looks really nice. No sink marks on the visual surfaces. A little bit of rib detail on the inside of the wheel bay there. No eject pins in the visible area. No eject pins in the visible area of the flaps, where the flaps are going to go the upper side of the flaps. So that's the port side upper wing. The starboard side upper wing, again, looks the same. It's just the identical opposite. Excuse me. So I'm happy with the way that looks. Let's open the next big bag. So there were 2, 3, 4, 5 sprues in that bag. In the second big bag we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues. Take the largest one, which is the wingtip halves. Again, lots of lovely rivet detail and recessed panel lines. Then we've got horizontal stabilizers and the horizontal elevators, the rudder halves, and then the bulkhead behind the pilot's seat, the wheel well, undercarriage well walls for the wheels to sit inside, and then these are the internal fuselage wall sections. And again, they all look very, very nice. I'm not seeing any flash on these. Oh, there's a bit of flash around the spindle there, look, for the propeller to mount onto, and that's the aerial there. So a bit of flash on that. That'll just break off easy. It's really thin flash. But the rest of that looks beautiful. On to the next biggest part of that one. And here we go with the instrument panel, the bulkhead, and the pedals assemblies, the main ailerons, elevators for the main wings piece. That's the cockpit flooring. We've got the rear wheel here, which is one piece. we got the pilot's headrest, bulletproof plate with the headrest on it, and then we got all the small bits that go inside the cockpit, throttle, controller, we got the oxygen cylinders there, the back of the pilot's seat, the framework for the seat there and there and there, and everything looks good. So I'm really happy again with this. Just some flash there, you can see on the edge of the radiator cover, air intake for the radiator housing, and some flash there right at the edge of the, oh, that flash is on outside of the moulded part, so I'm not worried about that. That's an ejector pin slug for helping the part out, which is good. No ejector pins on these parts. All the ejector pins are outside of the moulded components. So that sprue looks good. The third biggest one out of the 4 on that bag of sprues, and this is the forward fuselage on the underside. Then we have the undercarriage doors, the main doors, and then the half moon sections that go at the top there. We got the exhaust stack halves, little airflow intake, 2 halves there that goes on the underside of a wing, and another one here, 2 parts that assemble with that, and then we have the wheel axles here. And again, these look really nice, recessed panel lines and rivet details on the external surfaces, so I'm happy with that one as well. And then here we come to the spinner assembler, the back plate, rotor plate for the propeller shafts to mount onto the front spinner, and then some little aerials that go onto the outside of the fuselage. Again, they look like good moulded parts. Alright, the next one is the last bag of grey sprues, just a tiny bag, and in here we have four small sprues. We have 2 halves of one wheel, there's some tread on that. We have 2 propellers. Propellers look great, no flash around those, no flash around the wheels. And this is the other wheel halves and 2 more propellers. Again, they look really nice. And here we have some radiator parts and foot pedal and radiator parts as well, and they look really crisp, no complaints with those. So those 4 are good as well. And then the last sprues are the clear sprues. So let's open this bag and see what we have in clear sprues. It's 3 little clear sprues. Here we have the forward windshield with a bulletproof windshield that sits on the front there, sliding canopy. That sliding canopy is a little glazed. It's a little, yeah, that's not clear. Down this side it's a little rough looking. Flow marks. They might have got the temperature a little too hot there in the mould. It's glazed. So I'm not happy with that sliding canopy. It's looking glazed, but the rest of it looks okay. The front windshield, I don't know whether I'll be able to get that out with polishing. It's doubtful because it's going to be part of the material flow. And then we have wingtip lights and the what's it called? The gun sight. A little lens that goes on the underside, and then the rear section of glass that sits on the back behind the pilot, and that's it. So everything looks great. It's just this windshield, this sliding canopy I'm not happy with. It looks glazed. But anyway, that's it guys. That's the review from me for my next build as part of the Battle of Britain 75th anniversary group build hosted by Ian, UK Scale Modeller, and Charles Scale Modelling. I hope you're going to follow this build with me, guys, because I'm looking forward to it. Looks like a nice kit with these surface details that are going to look great when they've been weathered and washed. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Thanks for sticking around with this inbox review. Hope you enjoyed it, and stick around a little longer. You'll see some still images of what we've just looked at. Thanks again, guys. Tally-ho, chocks away. Hey guys, I'm back. Before you get to see this slideshow of still images of all the parts, what's in the box, while I was taking photographs, I noticed a problem. So here's the bottom wing moulding. Here's the port side upper, and then the other one should be the starboard upper, but it's another port side. So I have two sprue D's. I don't have the sprue E for the starboard side upper section. So Revell have screwed up. I'm going to have to get in touch with Revell, and while I'm at it, while I'm ordering a sprue E, I'll order a sliding canopy which is all glazed. So that's a bummer. Never had to do that before, so I hope that comes quick, because I'm going to be getting on with this build tomorrow, and that'll hold me up, because that wing assembly can all go together as a sub-assembly. Alright, that's me out, guys. Stick around, the slideshow of parts is about to follow. Cheers, tally-ho, chocks away. would have been nice if it had the Daimler DB605 engine in that. Anyway, let's see what we got in the box. This is a skill level 4. Yeah, Gustav was a skill level 5, which I disagree with. I think that should be a skill level 3. It was easier. It's just like a larger version of a 148 scale kit. Okay, so here we go. Instructions, black and white as usual. In history and Germany first and English second. About the Mark IIA. We have 69 sections of the build assembly instructions, and then we have 2 options of markings, same colours, just different markings, squadron markings, and the colours are the dark earth green and brown on the sky lower. Now, should be decals in here, yeah, there we go. Now I'm doing this so you know, if you're part of the Love of Freddy group build that I'm hosting, that this is the prize. So I'm going to be building one so you can see how it goes together before you receive your prize, whoever wins it. Decals, again, these are printed in Italy, so cardograph decals. They look very nice. The only carrier film we have is in between the letters on the fuselage stencils, and then everything else is there's zero carrier film around the edges. It's just print right to the edges, and they're a sort of matte, slight satin matte finish. These decals are slightly thicker because there's 3 colours there, so with the 3 prints it's making it slightly thicker than the others. These red dots, as I don't have a good Spitfire in my collection. So anyway, this kit, just as the Gustav, the BF109 G10 I just built, this is brand new tooling last year in 2014. Another Germany kit, Revell Germany. The artwork depicts a couple of Spitfires, Mark IIs, flying over the channel, with Heinkel HE-111s, bombers being escorted by Messerschmitt BF109E4s. So nice depiction from the Battle of Britain. Here's some of the detail that can be seen on this model. It's propeller exhaust inside the cockpit, undercarriage, and then the horizontal stabilizers, elevators, rudder. And one thing I'm going to look straight out for when we start looking at the parts is whether this has an engine, because I haven't checked that yet. Because the Gustav, the BF109G, didn't have an engine, and it Hi guys, Martin here, coming to you with my inbox review for my next build, and that's going to be the Revell Supermarine Spitfire Mark IIA 1/32 scale, kit number 05986. And if you've seen my recent video, you'll know that this is my first entry into the Battle of Britain group build 75th anniversary. That's being hosted by 2 modelers on the forum. That is a UK scale modeler, Ian, and Charles Scale Modelling. So thanks for hosting this great group build, guys, and I'm looking forward to getting on with this Spitfire. It's obviously going in the centre here. And we have the instrument panel decals there if you want to use those. So the decals look good, so that's the decals looked at. And if they're as good, and I expect they will be, as the model I just done, the 109 G10. They're going to be great day cows because they were great. So, quick look at the instructions and then we'll look at the plastic. Usual, before you start, read these instructions, and then the symbols that are used within the instructions and the meanings of those symbols. And then on the 4th page we always get the colour call outs. These go from A to O. Then we have the instrument, trees, sprues, sorry, not instrument sprues, the sprues,